Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio College Football Closing Time Show, Saturday, December 12th. We're finally off and running. One of those days where your computer suddenly tells you, just as you're about to start a live show, you're updating and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. So you got to sit and wait through it. But we're finally here, ready to go. Conor Mack and yours truly, Ian Cameron, ready to break down the Saturday college football card. This is really the last full Saturday regular season card because next week there's just a couple of regular season games plus the conference championship games. So this is really that last bigger slate of Saturday action to break down. So you can tell the college football season winding down. Let's get to it. We'll start, as always, with a lot of early kickoffs. As always, we'll start with the noon games. Alabama, Arkansas to get us going. Alabama, 30-point favorites, 68 the total. Now, I know a lot of us, myself included, Conor as well, we've been loving this Alabama first half. We've been loving this Alabama full game combination. It's been working pretty well, especially against teams that they can completely dominate. I don't know if they can completely dominate Arkansas because I got to give Arkansas a lot of credit. Arkansas's had a great season. Sam Pittman, considering what he inherited, they've had a great season. I think they've certainly played better football than a lot of people expected. The offense, both sides of the football have really come along, especially the offense of late. They've really been able to put up points. And they did it last week without Felipe Franks against Missouri. Now, they lost, but it wasn't because of their offense. KJ Jefferson was the quarterback. He moved the ball. It's looking like Franks is going to be a game-time decision right till the end. So we're not going to know until probably when they kick off if he's in. But if he's not in, Jefferson will play again. And Jefferson played pretty well last week. I'm kind of interested a little bit in the over in this game at 68. Alabama, if you like them, and I don't like them as much because I respect what Arkansas has done, it's a lot of points. And Alabama's locked into the SEC title game, against Florida. So it might just be a matter of let's get, up big early maybe, and then just cool it, cruise to victory, kind of like what they did against LSU. They didn't really do much last week in the second half against LSU because they were already up so big. So if you like Bama, I'd probably prefer them first half, but I'm going to just stick with a small play on the over here, 60, because I do think Arkansas can move the ball a little bit, even against Alabama's defense. LSU did have some good drives last week, but I think Arkansas can here as well to help contribute to the total here. Conor, what do you think here, Alabama versus Arkansas?
Yeah, you're right. They got everything clinched, but I still full game. Maybe I'm a little bit worried, but I'm with you. I think this is first half or nothing.
Yep.
I mean, Missouri put 50 up, and I don't think their offense is good all year, and that was a horrible bet by me. I had the under in that goddamn game. But anyways, you gotta give my shit losses. I gotta give them out just with the wins. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I'm still with Bama here. I just think they can score at will. So not, like you said, they already got everything clinched up. But they've just been. This year has been a little different because Saban hasn't been a guy that, puts on points really. But this year, that offense has just been great. So I'm just going to roll with them first half here. And the total, it's a little high. I think it could get over, but I didn't bet it. I don't really have a lean that way.
Yeah. For me, I'm just keeping that play small. I'm a small bet. I think it'll be trading points, especially later in the game. I think Arkansas can put up points if Alabama unloads the bench with backups, but good backups. We know they recruit well, but I still think they'd be able to put up points there. Georgia, Missouri, staying in the SEC, 14 with Georgia, laying 2 touchdowns on the road, minus 14, 55 the total in this one. This over I like a lot more than the last game. Georgia's transformed into a little bit of an over team, to be honest with you, lately. It's a combination of things. First of all, JT Daniels is so much better than Stetson Bennett. You can't even compare the two quarterbacks. Since JT Daniels, the USC transfer's taken over, this offense has taken flight, essentially, for the Bulldogs. They have scored, 30-plus back, 31 and 45 in the first 2 games started by Daniels. I think they shred Missouri's defense, which just isn't all that great. But Eli Drinkwitz, what do we know about him, the Missouri head coach who came here from App State? Good offensive-minded coach, has had pretty good offenses throughout his career. He's got Missouri's offense rolling right now. Missouri has been piling up the points the last few weeks. Connor Bazelak looks very comfortable. The quarterback, the passing game's getting stronger. They're a balanced offense. They can run the football as well. And Georgia's not stopping the run. And Georgia's not the elite Georgia defense that they've been in years past. They're still all right, but you can move the ball a little bit on Georgia this year. Moderate total. It's a modest total considering the the current form of these two offenses. So more than anything, this game I think finds its way to the high 50s and over this total. What do you like here?
Yeah, I lean towards the over as well. And I would take Missouri. I didn't bet this. There's just something I just don't really love it. I love catching 2 touchdowns with them. I'm not impressed with them, and I haven't had a great read on Georgia all year. Like you said, they're a little bit different team now with Daniels in, scoring a little bit more. A bunch of guys on defense have been in and out and all year. They weren't so as dominant with all their guys in. I don't love it, but if I leaned, I would take the points here with Missouri if I had to bet this game.
Yeah, and even with Jake Fromm, the last few years, Georgia, they were a run heavy, just run the football, churn the clock. I've never seen Kirby Smart let his quarterback throw the football all around the field like he's allowing JT Daniels, because he's finally got a quarterback that can throw the football all over the field. That's why he's doing it. So it's been, and again, betting markets have been slow to adjust because Georgia over the total in each of Daniels' starts so far this season. So I do think there's value here for sure over the total. It's actually one of my favorite plays of this entire day. Michigan State, Penn State. We've got Penn State 15-point home favorites, 47 the total in this one. I'm not laying that much with Penn State. No way, no how. I'll give them credit. They've shown some life finally, the last couple of weeks, and I'll give them some credit for that, including the win against Rutgers last week. They showed up the week before, won their first game against Michigan as well. So Penn State isn't packing it in like I thought they were earlier in the season. They've actually sprung to life a little bit, and they might be able to win this game by margin. I don't know if I trust Michigan State. By the way, Rocky Lombardi was not warming up on the field before the game today, and it looks like Peyton Thorne is going to be the quarterback possibly for Michigan State. To be honest with you, it's not a big downgrade. I wouldn't downgrade Michigan State big time just because Rocky Lombardi's not playing. He's not a great quarterback anyway. In fact, Peyton Thorne might actually be on par, if not better. So for me, it's just too many points. More than 2 touchdowns, I'd lean slightly to Sparty, but nothing I'm strong about. What do you think, Conor? Michigan State, Penn State.
Yeah, lean the Spartans here. There, you can catch me. No way. I want to lay 15 with Penn State. No way. I mean, you're taking a chance there if you like that. I like the under a little bit. It's cold. I think Penn State's been playing better defense.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't know how much Michigan State can score. This is one I liked kind of earlier in the week. I'm on the under 47 here.
Rutgers, Maryland. We've got Maryland down to 5. Holy mackerel. Steam on Rutgers, big time. Total 57.5. I don't disagree with it. Maryland's had their schedule altered. They've had games canceled. They've been, on and off the practice field for weeks because of these starts and stops because of COVID. You can't think that they're going to be in great rhythm here. And all Rutgers does is, hang around in a lot of these games. And even against Penn State last week, they didn't cover, but they were still 1 score away from getting inside the number last week against Penn State. Noah Vedral, the quarterback, solid. The defense is still a little bit spotty, which is also why I kind of lean over the total here because, I don't know if this defense I fully trust against Tagovailoa. But again, with Maryland, their defense isn't very good either, Maryland, which is why I think Rutgers can score. So I lean over the total as well. And, the best of the numbers gone. You could have had 7.5 with Rutgers, but I'd still lean to taking the points with them now, even at 5. I think they're in rhythm. They're playing every week. You can't say the same thing about Maryland, and that could make a difference. Conor, what do you think here? Rutgers, Maryland.
Yeah, I think it's Rutgers. I didn't bet this game. I was a little disappointed. I thought Rutgers at least got a field goal, man. Last week they didn't cover. But I would take them, but the value is a little bit lost. And I saw it earlier last night. And this morning it was 6.5. And I wanted 7, at least, with Rutgers. And the value's a little bit gone. But still at 5, if you're going to go with this game or tease it, I would go with Rutgers in this game. And I really don't have a feel for the total. I'd go with the over a little bit. I think both teams, Maryland, a lot of turnovers. Rutgers turns the ball over. I think that could turn into points. So I'd lean with the over.
Western Michigan, Ball State. Western Michigan, 1.5-point road favorite, 66 the total. Certainly the over stands out to me here. 2 good offenses. I like what I've seen from Ellaby, the quarterback for Western Michigan. He's had a really nice season. We know Ball State, Drew Plitt, they're a better offensive team than they are a defensive team. So in terms of the side, lots of money on Western Michigan. Their stats look better than Ball State's. Their defensive numbers look better than Ball State. So again, if it's going to be a close game, which defense do I trust a little bit more to stop the opponent? Maybe Western Michigan. So I kind of agree. Western Michigan might win this game. Ball State, their defense has not taken that step forward, I thought. So I'll lean to Western, and I do have a small piece of the over here, 65.5. Really good one, though, in the MAC, Connor. What do you think here? Broncos and Cardinals.
And is Ball State's running backs playing, right? The Huntley guy?
Huntley is, yes. They're supposed to be
in.
Yep.
I looked at this one. The wind's kind of picking up. I like the over. Something was keeping me off. It's come down a bit.
Yep.
I think it's at 65 now. It was tough. I wanted the over here, and I even like Ball State a little bit, but I'm staying off. It just the wind. I just don't love it. But I think points are scored in this game, even with the wind and everything that's going on there. I think the wind's 15 to 20 miles an hour, so it might not. We'll see. Bother it that much, but. I'd lean with the over here.
Yeah, 20 or more is usually when I get concerned about the wind. If it's less than 20, ideally you want 5 to 10 or 15 at most. If it's close to 20, you do get a little, worried when you're betting it over. But if it's more than 20 or more miles per hour winds, then you're definitely more concerned about whether that will impact scoring. Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan. We've got Eastern 6-point home favorites, 55.5 the total in this game. It's been an up and down year for Eastern Michigan, and I know Northern Illinois is certainly one of the worst teams in the MAC, but Eastern Michigan's always been one of those teams, the last few years. I don't want them laying points. I want them as an underdog. I just don't trust them in this kind of price range. Ross Bowers has been good some moments, though, and Eastern Michigan's defense has been spot. This is another one where I could make a case for the over, but again, there's some wind in play, maybe a chance of rain in Ypsilanti as well, which is why the totals come down a bit. But still, mid-50s for a MAC game seems pretty low when it comes to totals in this conference. So for that reason, I lean over the total. And I like Preston Hutchinson. I still think he's going to be a quarterback that could be pretty good for this program. Next year is the year to look out for him. I think next year he's going to make that jump because he's a dual threat. He's got some ability. And I think if he probably will be back at EMU next year. He could be a good quarterback there. Connor, what do you think here? NIU, EMU.
Yeah, I just don't want them favored, Eastern Michigan. I think the line's about right. And I'm waiting. I got to make this. I'm thinking about taking the over as well. I was real on all these MAC games. I'm like, I've just been hesitant. Not that, and the MAC is weird, but we'll get to the next one with Toledo. So, I lean the over here. Northern Illinois, I think, could hang around, but I don't want Eastern Michigan. They had that great win as 2 touchdown dogs last week, but I don't want a -6.5.
Yeah, and a rivalry game, and now they're laying 6. You're right. That's always a negative situation. Doesn't always mean it's going to be a bet against that's going to cash, but it's definitely something you want to be aware of for sure because it's not the greatest of spots for the Eagles. All right, we've got Nebraska hosting Minnesota. Minnesota finally playing football again. Nebraska, 9.5, 62 the total. This is another game where I think points are on the scoreboard here. Minnesota's got a capable offense with Tanner Morgan. I know it's not been great. Their receiving core is kind of taken a step back. I like Ibrahim, the running back, but they don't have those dynamic, explosive receivers, Minnesota, that they did last year. That may not matter, though, against Nebraska's defense, which will give up points mostly to everybody on a weekly basis. Nebraska, though, the last few weeks, we'll give them credit. Let's give Adrian Martinez credit. He's actually stepped in and played really, really well, including last week for Nebraska. I cannot trust Minnesota, even getting all they just haven't been playing football. Another one of those programs where they're starting and stopping in terms of playing games, starting and stopping in terms of practices. You can't expect rhythm and sharpness, crispness necessarily, but there's no way I can lay more than a touchdown with Nebraska. They're just too flighty, too erratic. So for me, it's a pass on the side, but I do agree with the upward move to the total. Connor, what do you like here?
I'm on Minnesota here, and I'm leaning towards the over. I just think it's crazy. Nebraska's going to be, it's dropped now. I got it at 10.5. Early the week. I think it's 9 or 8.5 now. I still think there's a little value, but I think Minnesota stays with them. I can't believe Nebraska's played a little bit better, but Martinez or the other guy, forget his name, to come in. Yeah. Okay. There's no way. I think Minnesota can hang with them. I think the game goes over too. I think both teams score, and I think maybe they have laid off a little bit. Teams have been different, off these layoffs with the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Some played better, some haven't. I think Minnesota's, all their kind of COVID's all past them. I've read a few articles. They're pretty healthy, so I think their offense can move the ball, and I love the 10 points here. Even at 8.5, I like it. Over the touchdown. So Minnesota here, and I lean towards the over.
All right, Illinois, Northwestern. We've got Northwestern 13.5-point home favorites. Look at the total, 46 down to 41. And I agree. I don't know how many points Illinois is putting up against this Northwestern defense, which is pretty good. Let's not forget what we've seen from Northwestern all season. Their defense has played well. However, I can't even get close to laying these points with Northwestern, a team that's locked into the Big Ten championship game. Not against a team. Well, maybe Illinois might excite them because it's a in-state, so maybe they do get pumped up for it. But I just don't know if it's. I know it's an in-state team, but it's a bad team. Do they really come out fired up to play? If they can put the boots to Illinois. But I just don't want to lay this many points. It's an easy one to stay away from for me. How about you, C-Mac, with Illinois Northwestern?
You nailed it. No, we always talk about it. This is not a spot to lay it with Northwestern and Illinois. If I had to take this game, I would take the points here. I think Northwestern wants to get in, get a win. Like you said, they'll be playing Ohio State, looks like, for the Big Ten championship. 2 touchdowns, no way. This could be sneaky. Illinois could cover this game. I don't love it because I could see a 20 to 21-7, or they could just cover something like that. You know what I mean? 27-10. So I'm staying off it.
Wake Forest, Louisville. We've got Louisville 2-point favorites at home, 61.5, 62.5 the total. Dave Clawson, we're talking about Wake Forest and all their starts and stops, and he says it's having an impact. So maybe that's why Louisville's favored. But Louisville's had their own struggles. The running backs opted out. Tutu Atwell, the great receiver now, is opted out as well. The defense had a couple opt-outs this week. I still think we could get some points here in this game with Wake and Louisville. Wake's going to go hyper speed, which they always do, up tempo with their offense. And Sam Hartman has had a pretty good season, all things considered, for the Demon Deacons. Louisville still finding ways to be productive offensively, despite the fact they've lost some key personnel. Total in the 62 range. I think the over might be worth a look here. What do you like here, Conor, with Wake and Louisville?
I like your over too, and I like Wake Forest. I think just take a money line. You're getting the 2. I know they haven't played in a while, but I just like Hartman. And Louisville's just been a disaster. Not only bad for, just horrible this year. It's just been bad. They turn the ball over a lot. And, I think points are scored. I think Wake Forest is just a bit better than them. I like Wake Forest here for sure. Money line.
All right, liking Wake here and a little on the over as well. Utah, Colorado. Utah, 2.5-point road favorites, 49 the total. How about this? You don't see this every day. It's like the USC-Arizona State game earlier this season. A noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is 9 a.m. Well, it's 10 a.m. local time in Boulder, this game. But, morning kickoff in the Pac-12 locally. And we've got that here for Utah and Colorado. That's because they moved this game to Fox Television. Fox lost the Ohio State game, which is what they were going to show at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So they had to put a game in that slot, and they chose Utah, Colorado. So now Utah, Colorado is 9 a.m. Pacific time. This line move tells me that if you're betting Colorado, it's going to look, wow, Colorado's 4-0. Now they're an underdog. We got to take them, right? But this has been one-way, sharp steam on Utah, and it makes me think Utah might win this game. It really does. When you have a 1-2 team in Utah taking the money there, but Utah's played. The thing is, Colorado's schedule is light and weak. Utah's played good teams. USC, they played USC. They played UCLA. They played some really tough. Washington. They played some much better teams on their schedule than Colorado has. This is such significant steam at a pick'em going against the undefeated team that it tells me that there might be something to it with Utah, and I would only look to the Utes here in this game. And Jake Bentley's getting slowly better. He's been an aggravating quarterback going back to his South Carolina days, but he's finally starting to play a little bit better. Colorado, statistically, there are some games that they've won, by the way, in their 4-0 start where they got badly outstatted and they feasted on turnovers. And I think some people see that as well, that, hey, a lot of teams have shot themselves in the foot playing Colorado more than it's been the Buffaloes looking good. So lots of steam on Utah. And when it's this much against an undefeated team in a pick 'em price range, it's got that where there's smoke, there's fire feeling to me. So I would only look to Utah here. Connor, what do you like here?
Yeah, here, I'll give a quick shout out here. Colorado Bull likes Utah on the under. Give AB, thanks for coming. He likes Wake Forest, Louisville. He took it's 64. Yeah, it's 61. It still might get there. That game, I think, could see a lot of points. But thanks, everyone, for the chat. Slaughter, Mike Campbell. But, yeah, if this was maybe got to 3.5 or so, I'd like Colorado. But I think the Utes are the team here. And I took Colorado last week, and they were down 13-0, and then won 24-13. This was that one after seeing the team. I think Utah is the better team, but I just don't love it. I gotta pass. When I don't like a game like this, like you were talking about, Baveno, it just when my head's going back and forth, and it's under 3, I'd still go with Utah. If I got over 3 or 3 in the hook, I'd take Colorado. So I'm passing on this one completely.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. UAB Rice. We've got UAB 7-point road favorites, 44. Here's another team, UAB. I mean, geez, how about start and stop? And they haven't played in a while, and they're laying 7. And I don't know if I trust Rice because Rice can look good. How can you lose and get destroyed by North Texas and beat Marshall? How can that happen? Marshall, with how good they were looking on both sides of the ball, undefeated, and Rice just forces 5 turnovers and beats them. You can't script it. So, and I don't trust Rice after that kind of win to keep it going. It's definitely maybe a little bit of a flat spot after that huge, crazy, unexpected win against Marshall. So this is a game clearly it's an impossible one for me to read. So I'm staying away. Connor, you got anything here? UAB Rice?
No way. I'd like to take Rice, but I can't trust them. Like you said, UAB's been in and out. Yeah, no way. I'm past. This was an automatic pass right away. even like seeing the 7, I wanted Rice, but I said no, Connor, don't get yourself into that this week. So I passed.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. Akron Buffalo as we go back to the MAC. Buffalo 32.5, 58 the total. If you want to lay it with Buffalo, I wouldn't talk you out of it. I don't know if Akron's finding the end zone in this game. And I know Akron's offense has taken some strides forward earlier in the season, but the last few weeks, it's back to that Akron having a real hard time moving the football. And now they're facing maybe the best defense in the MAC with this Buffalo team. And then you got Jarrett Patterson, Kyle Van Treese, quarterback, running back combo on the other side against a horrendous Akron defense. Yeah, it could get ugly. Can they win by 35 or more? I think they possibly can. I would lean toward laying the point. Don't know if I will, but certainly it would be Buffalo or nothing. Connor, what about you here?
I thought about this. I just don't think I'm going to get there. I would take Buffalo maybe first half.
Yep.
It's under 21. It's 20 right now. That'd be my only look. Akron's looked a little bit better, but Buffalo's the class of this conference. I think they win easy. They can name the score, so it's Buffalo or anything here.
Yeah, it looks like 33. AB in the chat saying 33 players today for Minnesota out. How many of those are starters? Is the very big question there. But that's exactly why
we'll see.
Minnesota game, because I didn't know who was in, who was out, and that's obviously very important.
Yeah, because just a day ago from the same Twin Cities, they were pretty healthy. So with COVID cases.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It might be not so much the impact players affected by it. All right, we've got 3 p.m. games now as we move on down the card. Central Michigan, Toledo. We've got Toledo rather in this one. 11-point home favorites, 54 the total. Central Michigan without their quarterback, it's been very, very sketchy. Their offense is really bogged down a lot. But Toledo's been inconsistent enough where I'm a little sketchy and weary of laying a doubles with them. So for me, it would be a pass here. And again, just because the total's in the mid-50s for a MAC game, which seems low, for that reason, I would lean over. Connor, what do you like here?
Yeah, I'd lean with the over too. This is one I've thought about a lot. I think because Central Michigan's quarterback problems. I'd want under double digits with Toledo. I think that's what's keeping me off. I've been tempted to take them. It's 11.5. I just don't love it. So I got to pass here. But I'd lean towards the over. These mid-50s like we talked about. MAC games. I know a few of them should go over today.
Yeah, definitely. It seems for that conference, totals in the mid 50s always seem a little bit low. All right, we move on. The great tradition on CBS, 3 p.m. Army-Navy game. Yes, usually it's a standalone game, but this is 2020 and the COVID year. It's lumped in with a full schedule of college football today, Army and Navy. Probably a good thing because this CBS is selling the tradition of the game, and that's about it. Because Army's been, up and down. They're okay. They're not great. And Navy stinks. So that if you're going to sell this game, it's going to be tradition of, Army-Navy, the great rivalry here at the two service academies. But we've got Army here, 7.5, total 36. Look at this total. I can't bet an under now at 36. I can't. I know it's going to be just leave the clock dry, slope as a snail pace with the triple option on both sides. And I don't know if Navy's going to score all that much. Their offense has been just a pathetic mess this season. So it certainly is an under matchup, but you're not going to see me betting an under 36. As far as the side goes, Army's probably a little bit better, can win the game, but laying more than a touchdown in a rivalry this season, because if there's one game Navy's going to play their balls off, they're going to play, balls to the wall, they're going to give out all out effort. It's going to be this game, even though they suck. They're going to try their absolute best here in this game. So it's a tough game. It's always fun to watch, because it's Army Navy, but I didn't have anything close to a bettable opinion on this game. What do you think, Conor?
You nailed it. It's just so the number of 36.5. All these games, when they play, usually go under. I mean, I forget what the record is. And 7 of the last 9, the underdog is at least covered. The games are always close. Army is better, but like you said, if there's one game to get up for, I mean, when it was, at 8.5, I would kind of lean Navy and the under, but I don't think I'm going to bet this game. But that would have been my look here, because these teams just get up for each other. I think will be low scoring, and I want the team with points, over a touchdown 8 than the team laying it when you think it's going to be tight and low scoring. Yep. So, but I'm going to pass. I don't know if I'm going to get to the window with this one. So
yeah, it'll be a good one to watch, but passing. Yeah. Well, Coastal Carolina versus Troy. Coastal Carolina 13.5 point road favorites, 52.5 the total. What a victory for Coastal last week against BYU. As if I couldn't be in love with the team enough or impressed with this team enough. Their defense against BYU was outstanding. I mean, we saw what BYU's offense has done all year with Zach Wilson, and for Coastal to just bottle them up, get the stop when they need it, right by the goal line, thrilling finish. Certainly, everybody that I've talked to this week is looking at this game as Troy or pass, because it's a brutal spot after a huge win for Coastal against BYU, locked into the Sun Belt Championship against UL Lafayette next week, Saturday. So obviously, this is a major flat spot. But the thing that I would caution you if you like Troy, I'm not on the Troy side here. I'm passing the game because Coastal's been too good to me to bet against them at any point this season. They've been probably the team I've made the most money with in college football this year, for sure. Yeah. But what I would caution with you is there's been other spots on the schedule this year where you thought, well, maybe Coastal's a little bit flat. The win against UL Lafayette, for instance, when they won against UL Lafayette, and they came out the next week and they smoked the team they played. It was over like at halftime. Yeah, it looks like they should be flat, but they've avoided flat spots before. And if they avoid a flat spot here, talent-wise, roster-wise, you compare them to Troy, they can win this game by 2 touchdowns or more. So I understand the spot and the situational people loving Troy here, but I'm a little bit more cautious. I'm a little bit more worried because there's been opportunities for Coastal to be flat in other games this year, and they haven't been. So just a little word of warning there. Conor, what's your take here, Coastal and Troy?
You nailed it on the head. I was on Troy last week, and that was an easy win. I didn't think they'd win 29-0. I got to just stick with Coastal here because it's under 2 touchdowns. I think if it was over, I just like him here. I think Troy doesn't score much. I think Coastal can see it, feel the end is here. I hope it's not a flat spot. Just when you thought there would be one, like you talked about. It's hard to narrow these down. You can kind of guess after a huge game, but they're college kids. It's just, you do all that. So I still got to roll Coastal, and I like the under a little bit here. I think Coastal's defense can hold down Troy. So I like Coastal here, and I'd lean with the under of the 52 you can get here.
All right, Lean. I agree with the under as well. It's Troy. I don't know how much success they're going to have offensively. Wisconsin and Iowa in the Big Ten. Wisconsin 2.5-point road favorites, 41 the total in this one. I'm already leaning Iowa going against this line move, and I'll certainly, if I see a 3, and we might get a 3 on Iowa, +3 that is before kickoff, I'll have something on Iowa because, Wisconsin. The more we see them, the more I'm starting to think, wow. You beat up on a Michigan team that's been pathetic this year. You had that Illinois win in the first game, which, everyone was so excited about that. But look at now as you play better competition, lose to Northwestern, lose to Indiana last week. Yeah, Wisconsin's good, but maybe we overvalued them and overrated them after those 2 impressive early season blowouts against a down Michigan team and Illinois, who's back in the gutter again. Iowa, to me, as a home dog, is a little disrespectful to Iowa. Petrus isn't great as the quarterback. I get that, but they can run the football. He's making smart throws. He's not making a ton of mistakes, and that may be all you need to do here. And they've still got a really good defense, this Iowa team, and we're not seeing Graham Mertz light it up quite as much the last few weeks. So I definitely have a lean to Iowa here as a home dog. Conor, what do you like here?
Yeah, I get everyone. I just think they're the better football team, and everyone's just steamed with Wisconsin here. I guess people just don't think they'll lose 3 in a row. But Mertz, I don't think he's that good of a quarterback, and I want the team at home. And now that they're getting points, I like it money line. If you could catch a 3, like Ian said before kickoff, I just want the better team. I think it's close. There's no blowout here today, but I think Iowa's a little better on both sides of the ball, offense and defensively. So give me Iowa, and I think it's low scoring. I don't know if I could go with the under, right? But yeah, give me Iowa here.
Yeah, there we go. Good call in the chat. I'm seeing the news now. Talia Tagovailoa from Maryland's out with an illness, so it's going to be Lance Legendry at quarterback today for Maryland. So if you thought there was Rutgers steam before, there's going to be a lot more now because Talia was really looking good the last couple of those games there. Without him, knows what you're going to see from Lance Legendry. So even more money probably on Rutgers. That probably explains as well why money's come in that regard. Yeah. Moving on now, we've got the 3:30 games on the card. Good one here in the ACC. North Carolina, Miami. We've got Miami 3-point home favorites. Look at this total, 65 up to 71 now. Yeah, it should be a shootout. There's no question. And I think everybody's onto it. These are 2 fast-paced offenses. 2 defenses that anytime they faced a above average, good or elite offense, they have struggled. Miami hasn't stopped any kind of capable offense. Neither is North Carolina. So I think you're going to get both teams trading points. But I do like Miami, the side as well. -3. They're 4-0 at home this year. They've talked about avenging last year's loss to North Carolina. And North Carolina on the road, they've had some mishaps this year. They haven't played good football away from home. Remember, they even lost to Florida State on the road earlier this season, which is a loss for North Carolina that looks even worse. So I like this home team here, Miami, to get the win. I'll lay the 3. And look, I bet it over 67. It's hard to recommend it now at 71, but no way. Even at 71, I would not tell you bet the under in this game. You should have fireworks on both sides offensively. Conor, what do you like here in this game?
Yeah, I lean over. I don't know if I'm going to take it, though. And I lean Miami. I think they're playing real well. And just the inconsistency of North Carolina all year.
Yep.
The up and down, the games, the turnovers, the receivers not catching passes, the defense just giving up huge plays and points. I lean over, though, still. I think it can get over. I haven't bet it, but I like it. I might. So I definitely lean the over. And Miami a little bit at 3 points.
All right, Houston, Memphis, AAC. We've got Houston 5 to 5.5 point road favorites, 63.5 the total. Memphis' season looks like it's fallen apart. I mean, it has been some tough sledding for them. Houston's another team that they haven't played every week. They've had starts and stops to their season, pauses because of COVID. Don't know if I love laying points with them on the road either, but another game where 2 suspect defenses and would lean over the total a little bit. The concern is there's been Brady White in the Memphis offense hasn't been the same. Just hasn't. They've had some games recently where it looks like the offense has been stuck in mud. So that's why I'm only lukewarm on the over here. C-Mac, what do you like here? Houston, Memphis.
Yeah, I like Memphis just a little bit. I think it's just too many points. I don't think this Houston team should be laying points. Even how bad Memphis has been, I think they hang around here. I wish it was a little bit more, but I like them getting 4.5. I think they stay in this one. You see a bunch of points and it's close. They might even win. I'm on Memphis here.
All right, on Memphis here against Houston. All right, 3:30, Oklahoma State, Baylor. Oklahoma State 5.5 point road favorites, 49 the total in this game. Cowboys and Bears. Obviously, Oklahoma State falling short of the Big 12 championship game, which was made official. It's going to be Oklahoma versus Iowa State in that game. So motivation's a concern, but regardless, they're a lot better than Baylor. I could only look to the Oklahoma State side. Don't love it, though, so it's just a lean. What do you like, Conor, here in this one?
Same. I'm not that. Oklahoma State. I've been just off Baylor after the first few weeks. I bet them. I haven't liked them in a betting spot. I don't like them in this spot. I would want more than just 5. So I definitely go with Oak State. Laying 4.5, 5 here.
All right, on we go. 4 p.m. Eastern now. The next swatch of games. We've got Cal and Washington State. Cal 2-point road favorites, 53 the total. Look, that was a quit effort from Washington State, and I can't explain it because I thought this team was competitive, playing hard, playing reasonably well for a coach that I really like, and Nick Rolovich there did a great job at Hawaii, but that was a quit. That was a laydown by them against USC in that rescheduled game last Sunday night. Now, I know Cal's going to be a step down in class, and all Cal has done is find ways to lose, this season. That has been their mantra, and now they're laying points on the road. I want to kind of give Washington State a pass for that and think they're going to be better here today and show up. And if they do, they can win this game. So I definitely lean a little to Wazoo here. C-Mac, what do you think? Cal, Washington State.
This was another one that I was just dumbfounded because the way they played, last week, it was just so bad.
Yep.
This one's tough, so I just laid off. The Cows look pretty good for them. I guess, Oregon's not that good. They've stayed in games, but I don't like them on the road. I think it's a bad spot, them being favored in this spot. So I'm not playing it, but I lean a little bit with Washington State just because they're dogs, but they have not looked good. You're right, lately.
Duke, Florida State. This is a case of I'm just betting against a team because I think their situation is miserable. Florida State 3.5, 57 the total.
Which one?
Florida State worse.
Yeah.
Duke's not playing well at all right now. That was terrible. But
Miami was rough
last week. I'll give them credit. Miami's a really good team. So, and their offense, Duke, is not going to work against a good defense or a good team. We've seen that all year. Chase Bryce and the offense does not work against good teams. But against Florida State, with like 3/4 of their starting defense from the beginning of the season either injured or opted out, there's like 8 freshmen now on the starting defense today for Florida State. This is a game where they should just be able to line up and run the football. And that's the key to Duke. If they can run the football, that's when they start moving the ball and scoring. And I think they can do that here. And Florida State, Norvell is frustrated. Players opting out left and right. They've been blown out multiple. I haven't played it recently, Florida State, but back when they did, non-competitive. And now you're going to ask them to lay more than a field goal? We're not just talking about winning a game, which has been rare for Florida State lately. Winning by more than a field goal. I simply had to take Duke here. And I know Duke's no great shakes, but for me, it's a lesser of two evils. It's just a straight, I want to fade Florida State as laying points, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Conor, what do you like?
I'm with you. I haven't bet it, but Duke's got to be it. I think, like you said, they can run it. They love throwing those short passes. They just don't have the players to stretch the field. I wish, if Duke could, they could really run this out. I like them getting the 4. And I like the over, but I thought they'd maybe be too much running. But when you get 2 bad teams,
yep,
I think it could creep over here. And I thought about, I haven't bet that either. I looked at the over here. So I'd lean over as well.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think the over might be in play. I would definitely lean in that direction as well. Georgia State, Southern rather, hosting App State. App State 9.5, 45 the total. Georgia Southern's banged up beyond belief. Tons of injuries. Shai Wertz might not even play at quarterback here in this game. But for App State, I don't want to lay 9.5 in this spot. They've had a couple of big games. They lost to Coastal. They had the big one against UL Lafayette to determine who would play Coastal in the Sun Belt Championship game, and they lost that game to UL Lafayette on that Friday night last week. So now all of a sudden, for a team that's used to dominating this conference, you're not even in the Sun Belt Championship game this year. Where the hell are you going to find inspiration as 9.5-point road favorites? I don't trust their mentality today. So it's a clear pass for me. I don't want either side. What do you think here, Conor?
I'm right with you. I don't want it either. I'd look at this spot because I just think it's just get in and get out. But I just don't. It's at 45. I look at the under, but I think it's just a little low. Georgia Southern can't really score. I just think it's. I wish it was 49 or 50. I'd feel more confident. At 45, I still like the under, but not as much. So lean towards the under.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that. Mountain West action in Laramie, one of the great places to be watching college football. It's just great to always see games there for some reason, in my opinion. At least we got Boise, Wyoming. Boise, 9-point favorites here. Now, this is important. Wyoming's taken a lot of money. I like Wyoming regardless of the situation because I always think you're going to give me double digits at home in Laramie with Craig Bowl and that Wyoming team. I'm always interested because they've been tough. They have been a bastard to beat, on that home field. They've always been a good home team over the years. And then now the situation makes it even, I think, better if you like Wyoming, because Boise's now locked into the Mountain West title game by virtue of Nevada's loss to San Jose State last night. So it's a situation where you've got San Jose State and Boise State now confirmed as your Mountain West championship game. Where's the incentive for Boise to just go out there with all guns blazing and roll up a big win against Wyoming? And again, talent-wise, they're probably this much better than Wyoming, no question. But Wyoming's defense seems to be a different animal when they play at home. I've seen them shut down pretty decent offenses over the years when they play on this home field. And for me, this is Wyoming all the way, plus points as a home underdog. What do you think, Conor?
Yeah, can you believe it? This is only their second home game. They only had one all year. The other one got canceled. I normally would take Wyoming, and if this was a little bit higher, I'd be all over them. But I'm with Boise State here. It's under 10 at 9.5. I can't get over losing to New Mexico. God, because I bet them. I watched them the last few weeks.
Yep.
I can't believe Wyoming lost to them. I watched some of that game. But you're right. This is a flat spot. This is a Wyoming spot. You were nailing it. So this could be a good one. I think your Wyoming.
The quotes indicate they're showing up today. We'll see if that transpires, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I love it. So I'm on Boise here that it's under 10. This should be a good one. We'll see what happens. Because this is definitely a Wyoming spot. If it was a little bit more, I'd like them. But I'm going with Boise here. It's under 10. I got to take it at 9.5.
All right, very good. LSU, Florida. LSU 23-point home favorites here. 68 the total. More guys opting out for LSU. They imposed the 1-year bowl ban, which means now the players don't even have a bowl game to shoot for. You can tell I don't want LSU here in this game. But Florida's having trouble, laying these kind of numbers and cashing lately. So it's not just. I'd rather have Florida in a split second before LSU in this game. So it's a lean to Florida, but they're having trouble covering numbers of this magnitude lately. But LSU's unbackable. So it's Florida or pass. What do you think here, Conor?
You nailed it. I can't back LSU. I mean, just to think you'd say if you were getting 23.5 points last year, or like any year, 20, 30 years. But I'd slightly lean with Florida, but I don't want to lay it with them either. And I'd probably lean over. But the unders catch a few times at Florida last week. It's a little high, so this one could just fall short. Maybe. We'll see. So lean the Gators, but pass here.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that for sure. Moving on, we've got 7 p.m. Louisiana Tech TCU. How about this odd scheduling situation? A rare non-conference game here in December. 21-point home favorites, TCU, 50 the total. Look, it was North Texas, and they stink, but Louisiana Tech's offense finally had a huge day. Maybe that can continue. And you can't – is TCU really that fired up to play Louisiana Tech at the end of the season where they've had a mediocre at best season? I grabbed the 3 touchdowns here with Louisiana Tech. I know that in the long term, hasn't always been the case lately, but long term, Skip Holtz, double-digit underdog, has been a damn good bet, and hopefully it will be here. I like La Tech. What do you think, C-Mac?
I love it too. I haven't yet, but this has been staring me right in the face all week, and it hasn't moved. And I'll be on La Tech. later tonight too. I think it's just too many. You're going to tell me you want to lay that many with TCU?
Yeah.
No way. They're not dynamic at all. And if they get a lead, they'll run it. I think, yeah, this smells backdoor cover. I think they can hang around in this game for sure. I'm with La Tech.
All right, we agree there with Louisiana Tech. USC, UCLA, good one in the Pac-12 Saturday night. USC 3.5-point road favorite, 64 the total. I kind of want to take UCLA at more than a field goal because I think they have looked the part of a team that can really go toe-to-toe here for USC. USC, obviously, a huge blowout win. I think they might be a little overvalued now in this point spread because of just how good they looked against Washington State, but I think Washington State kind of packed it in, as I mentioned a minute ago. This is another game where I think the offenses, I like Thompson Robins, the UCLA's balanced offense should provide problems for a USC defense that I think they've been better this year than last year, but they haven't been tested to the degree they'll be tested tonight. On the flip side, Keaton Slovis and the Trojans should have success offensively as well. UCLA's defense is improving, but can they, stop the best offense or one of the best offenses they faced this year? I'm not so sure. So I lean UCLA plus 3.5, and I would go with the over here, 64. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, I'd lean with the over as well. I think SC's a little overvalued as well. I've been surprised by what Chip Kelly's done this kind of year in this COVID year at UCLA. I didn't think they'd play this well. But I don't like both coaches. So that's another reason why I would not with him, Clayton, not lay 3.5 with SC. It seems like he makes mistakes coaching, penalties. SC always seem to have problems. It's not a team I want to lay 3.5 on the road, even though it's not really a road game with UCLA. But it's a good rivalry. I haven't bet if I would. I'd lean UCLA a little bit as well.
All right, Auburn, Mississippi State. Auburn 7 on the road, 49 the total. This is Mississippi State or pass for me, but I can't say I really love Mississippi State a whole lot. But it's just Auburn laying 7 on the road. That was their last gasp huge game. They played Alabama in the Iron Bowl, got torched, but they really gave it a go against A&M last week. You could tell they tried to play spoiler. They ended up falling just short. Now they're laying 7 on the road against a team that may not fire them up. No way can I lay it with Auburn. So it's a lean to Mississippi State here. And maybe with this total in the high 40s with Mississippi State with Rogers at quarterback, their offense is perked up. Their defense is still nothing to write home about. Maybe Auburn can even put up just enough points to slide this thing over 49 in terms of the total. So that's the leans there, Mississippi State and over. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, this one, I didn't like this one for the beginning. I wouldn't lay with Auburn here. I would go with Mississippi, but I don't love Mississippi State either. So this was a total pass, just pass off the bat. If I had to go, I go with Mississippi State. I just think they can keep it within a touchdown. Auburn could win, but it's just not a great betting game, I think. If you're taking a chance laying it with Auburn, I would just pass.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, we only have a few games left. Virginia Tech, good one in the ACC here. Virginia Tech, 3-point favorites, 64 the total. I'm actually surprised Virginia Tech's stuck here at -3. Virginia's 4-1 ATS, 5-0 ATS, 4-1 straight up their last 5 games. They're playing their best football of the season. Virginia Tech going in the other direction, losing games, failing to cover numbers. They battled Clemson really tough. I'll give them credit for a solid effort, but the roof caved in. I know it's a rivalry game, but you got players opting out, coach on the hot seat, an offense with banged up quarterbacks, although it looks like Burmeister and Hendon Hooker are good enough to play, but they both got banged up, hit hard last week. Virginia is surging. Virginia Tech is going in the other direction, and Virginia finally beat Virginia Tech last year in this rivalry game. I think they get him again. I think the wrong team is favored. This is one of my better plays today. Virginia here plus the 3. Connor, what do you like here?
Yeah, this was one of my better ones as well. I like Virginia plus 3. I think it should have been a pick 'em or maybe a point or two with Virginia. No. They're trending upward. I think Virginia Tech's down. I mean, of course, it's a rivalry. I think it'll be somewhat close, but I agree with you. Virginia here, and I lean there'll be some points, but it just seems a little high at 64. But yeah, Virginia.
Yeah, lean over, but yeah, it seems because Virginia Tech's offense has been kind of out of sync the last few weeks. All right, we're down to the late games on the West Coast, so these 10 p.m. Eastern opening kickoff time. So let's go through those. Stanford, Oregon State. We've got Stanford 3-point favorites, 53 the total. If the weather could be an issue, a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind maybe in Corvallis. If not for that, the over would have intrigued me because Davis Mills and the Stanford offense is coming alive the last few weeks. And Oregon State, they're still better offensively than they are defensively. But there are some weather concerns, so it's just a lean to the over. Not much on the side here for me. Stanford, Oregon State, C-Mac, where are you with this one?
I lean the same. I think this gets over. And I think I'd go with Oregon. I'd like to take points with them. Yep. Stanford has looked better. They won last week. We both liked them. It's kind of a difficult spot. I think Oregon State, and I'd lean with the over because I think, like you said, both teams' defenses aren't very good. I think they can both score here.
San Diego State, BYU. BYU 17-point home favorites, 47 the total. What's BYU's mindset after the bubble burst loss against Coastal Carolina? That's again another one of those situations where talent-wise, if they've got it today against San Diego State, their heads are right, can win this game and cover this number. Certainly they can. But are their heads going to be in the right spot after the Coastal loss? Heartbreaking. Tackled 1 yard short of the end zone. BYU last week, falling short in that one. Talent-wise, that's why it's a tough one. Talent-wise, they're 17 better than San Diego State. They are. But I don't know if they're going to be locked in today. So it's a tough one. It's a pass for me. What do you think, Connor?
This was a tough one, but I think 17 is crazy. I think San Diego State can easily hang in there. Their defense has been a lot better in the second half of games. And last week, they gave up a punt return and I think a kick return. So I think they can hang around here. I love the points with San Diego State. I lean towards the under. Everyone thinks BYU, that loss. I mean, they might come out and kill them, but I don't think so. And everyone thinks the revenge factor. San Diego State beat them 13-3 last year. So that's, but I still like San Diego State. I think it's way too many points. Give me the 17 with the Aztecs. And I'd lean the under. I take them every week. I got it, earlier in the week at 49.5. It's down to 47.5. It's getting pretty low here, but I'd still lean that way again. Can't go wrong with San Diego State unders.
Yeah, San Diego State and the under. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, absolutely. Fresno State, New Mexico. We've got Fresno, 14-point road favorites, 57 the total in this one. A lot of Fresno steam. And you know what it is? It's New Mexico off the win of their season, the game of their season last week against Wyoming. You're not duplicating that. We don't trust you to duplicate that. Fresno's been one of those teams, you got to admit when you get a team wrong. I've been wrong about Fresno. They have definitely played better than I thought they would come. I thought they'd be rebuilding. But this young coach looks like he's got some upside. Jake Haener, the quarterback. Washington transfers played well. The defense is hung in there. Yeah, I agree with the Fresno move. I think New Mexico, I don't trust them to withstand prosperity here. I think this could get ugly and away from New Mexico here. What do you think, Connor?
I lean Fresno. I just don't like the 13.5. And I'm not touching New Mexico. Watch they probably cover or something weird in this game, but they have not looked good. Fresno surprisingly has played pretty well this year. Even last week against UNR, they were in that game kind of, at least towards the fourth, and UNR covered. So I lean with Fresno as well, but it's a little high, 13.5.
All right, we've reached the final game on the Saturday college football card here. UNLV against Hawaii, 18.5 Hawaii at home, 59 the total. UNLV's unbackable. You can't back them. Like, they're getting blown out by Wyoming and all of these teams that are mediocre entries in the Mountain West, and teams that are, you'd think offensively, they can't rack up that many points. But against UNLV's pathetic, piss-poor Civ defense, they can. And that's been the way it's been all year. And their offense, which started the season, with some decent, showings, hasn't been quite as good lately. You've got the Max Gillum issue, for the controversy that's floating around the program as well. It's just, that's not good for the team going to Hawaii. They've had a miserable, pathetic season. But Hawaii laying big points like this has always been treacherous. Like, they didn't cover against New Mexico in this kind of price range earlier this season. So I want to back Hawaii. I could only back Hawaii. I'm not going to back Hawaii. So that's where I stand with this one. It's a pass for me. Connor, what do you think?
You nailed it. I mean, you just can't back UNLV. They're just a total pass. You bet against them or pass, and it's take Hawaii or nothing. But I can't lay 19.5, 20 with Hawaii. They should win here easily, but I just can't do it. Same thing with you. They're not a team that should be laying that even against a horrible UNLV team. So definitely pass here.
All right, there you go. All right, best bets before we wrap up the show in college football. I'm going to throw out my college basketball best bet because I like giving you one on a Saturday, especially when we have a big college basketball slate as well, which is a good time to remind you as well. Tuesday this week, we're starting our college basketball show right here on the Pub Sports Radio channel. Conor and I, for the rest of December, we're going to play it by ear. We're going to do Tuesday and Wednesday this week with the college basketball show at 3:00 p.m. Eastern time, noon Pacific. Following week of Christmas week, we'll have to wait and see what the schedule is like. But I know in January, that show is going to become Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 days a week, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, right here on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. Our college basketball, we'll probably stick to the same name, college basketball closing time on Saturday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I should say. But it'll just be Tuesday, Wednesday this week. And then we'll get to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with that show come January. So looking forward to that college basketball as we start to get more into that mode with college football winding down. My college basketball best bet, we're going to look at a total. It's Dixie State taking on Denver. The Pioneers are one of those teams that was a slow-paced team basketball-wise for years. They greatly increased their tempo and pace last season and as well this season. Dixie State is a new entry into Division I basketball. They are more of an offensive-minded team. Both of these teams are one of the, I think, in the 330s, 340s in defensive efficiency, and both of them play fast. Both of them, though, are in the 300s as well offensively, so that's the one concern, but they're very poor defensively. You're going to get pace on both sides. Total's 146. I like Dixie State. Denver over 146 in college basketball today for a best bet. As far as my college football best bet, I'm going to go to North Carolina, Miami. The total's gotten out of range. The side is not. And I think Miami right now is playing excellent football, and they might be the better of these two teams. And North Carolina, one of the better teams they've played on the road. I don't trust them in that spot. Miami, -3. Against North Carolina for my college football closing time best bet. Conor, what do you got for best bet for college football?
I like Iowa, but I'm going to go with Virginia +3. I also like it money line. I like a few games. We talked about it earlier. You take the few points or just take it money line.
Yep.
Big force as well. Here's a basketball game I'm looking at as well. I like Tennessee over Cincinnati. 7. It's a little high, but I also like the under in that game. Tennessee's got a real good defense, and Cincinnati can't score. It's 132 right now. Kind of correlation bet there, but I'll be having more out later with my college basketball. But that for sure. Let me hit the sponsors real quick. If you guys haven't downloaded Wolf Spreads, get to it. It's super fun. A bunch of people are now in it. I think we're up to, I don't even know, a ton. Hit Pub Sports Radio Battle Royale. You get 2K, bet the NFL games every week. You end up winning. You get shirts, sweatshirts, hats, all the stuff we have, Pub Sports Radio. And if you need a book, go to mybookie.ag, hit Pub Sports Radio, and get it in. You get 50% off on credit and debit, and you get 100% if you do Bitcoin. So you put in $100, you get $100, $1,000, you get 1,000. So try to do the Bitcoin if you haven't used it before. And go to mybookie.ag. And let's have a big day.
Let's have a big day is right. We've already got touchdowns from Utah and touchdowns from Georgia on the board in the early games. So we've got 7-0 Georgia and 7-0 Utah leading Colorado. So already some scoring in the first couple minutes of these games. And I'm going to start watching them right now. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Everybody in the chat. There's too many to name. We've got Smith. We got Conor. I saw the man that's put this channel together, Jeff Slaughter, that joined the chat for a little bit. Mike Campbell, AB, everybody else, Hustle Wilson, everybody. Thanks. We appreciate you guys tuning in. A reminder, tomorrow we're right back here with the NFL closing time show, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Conor, me, and Ski. That's got a nice ring to it. Conor, me, and Ski.
Yeah, and Ski will be. We talked college basketball. We'll be having NBA very shortly. Seeing some Ski here. So with us.
Yes, I sure as hell hope he's able to do some NBA stuff.
I think he will.
This channel, because I know he's going to be doing stuff. He's works for the Wager Talk company, and I know they'll have him doing NBA for them as well. Hopefully, he can squeeze in his friends at pub as well with the NBA. But yeah, we're going to have some NBA show plans as well. I'm already talking with the Jeff Preston and everybody about what I'll be doing for NHL on the channel, with hockey starting next month as well. So we got lots of things coming up here to making sure you've got great betting analysis right here on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. So that'll wrap it up. We're back tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific with the NFL closing time show. For Conor, Mac, I'm Ian Cameron. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you again tomorrow on the NFL closing time show right here on the Pub Sports